Well, joining me now is the Executive Secretary of PTAD, Dr. Chioma Ejikeme. Thank you very much, Dr. Ejikeme, for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
Now, can you give us...
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. You're welcome. Can you give us an overview of what has been going on within the pension industry, particularly as it concerns the defined benefit scheme that you have managed in the past 1 year?
Thank you very much. I must say that in the past 1 year, it actually has been intense. I took over from the Honorable Minister for State for Environment, Barrister Sharon Ikazo, about a year ago. And the velocity with which she was moving demanded that I hit the ground running. We started with verifications, completion of verifications for parastatal pensioners. And we have been working hard to make sure that pensioners get their monthly pension regularly, as and when due. We have also been working on payment of gratuities, payment of arrears, payment of benefits to the next of kin of deceased pensioners. We've been working on trying to recover funds trapped with underwriters belonging to the defunct agencies. We've been working on a whole lot to make sure that pensioners within the defined benefit scheme are well taken care of.
Now, last week, you announced that a total sum of 96 billion naira had been disbursed to pensioners between July 2019 and August 2020. How were you able to achieve this despite the COVID-19 pandemic?
I must tell you that we have a crop of dedicated staff at the PTAD. And regardless of the COVID pandemic, government has been very supportive. The commitment to pensioners has been very high. So on a monthly basis, we always get the releases from government to be able to pay our pensioners. So regardless of the COVID pandemic, we've been working. Even when there was a shutdown, we were working. I declared PTAD an emergency service because our pensioners, the palliative that they get is the pension, the monthly pension. So we had to sit back and make sure that we prepared their monthly pension, following all the COVID guidelines, and we've been able to achieve that as a result.
Now, we know we have a lot of outstanding, pension outstanding there. Is this 96 billion naira the last of the outstanding arrears to be paid to pensioners? If no, what plans do you have to clear these outstandings as soon as possible?
The 96 billion we're talking about is the monthly pension. Monthly pension that the pensioners get on a monthly basis. The arrears are a different kettle of fish altogether. You may recall that this current administration, in its magnanimity, brought on board a lot of pensioners from the defunct agencies, the agencies that were privatized as far back as 2005. So we have been onboarding pensioners from these agencies and taking care of their pension. We also have some of them that, based on their conditions of service, they're supposed to get a one-off payment, like the NACO and ALSCON, and we'll be working on, we've actually paid 306 NACO pensioners their one-off payments, and we're continuing with that, after which we're going to start with the aluminium smelter company pensioners to pay their one-off payments. We inherited a lot of arrears from these defunct agencies because the pension liabilities were just passed on to PTAD, whereas we didn't receive their pension assets, a lot of which we find the underwriters are holding on to. And we're vigorously chasing them, including taking on legal action against them to make sure that we recover the pension assets with them. We also have some offshore pension assets worth about £25 million with the Crown Agents of London, and we're chasing that as well. And hopefully, before the end of this year, with how far we've gone with that, we expect that we should have that money back to Nigeria.
Now, talking about
the Civil Service Pension Department, we have a lot of arrears in that particular department. And that's as a result of the verification that we carried out between 2015 and 2017. So we are still validating that verification. And as of today, I have set up a project that should compute the benefits of these civil service pensioners. A lot of arrears, a lot of gratuities unpaid, and I actually declared a state of emergency in that particular department. And in all honesty, we have been funded by government to be able to take care of the arrears of the Civil Service Pension Department. So hopefully before the end of this year, with this project ongoing, we should be able to get a lot of the liabilities taken care of.
Right. While trying to take care of these outstanding arrears, do you consider, adding some kind of interest, considering the length of time it has taken? We've seen inflation rate has risen astronomically. A lot of these pensioners have died and some are on their sick bed. Any interest coming with these arrears?
PTAD is just an engine room for carrying out the mandate of paying pensioners of the defined benefit scheme. We do not have any place in putting together salary structures. We do not have any place in creating conditions of service. We do as we're told. And we do not generate policies, as it were, that govern pension payments to the defined benefit scheme pensioners. If government, in its magnanimity, decides that that could be an option, which I doubt very much, because I really believe that government has done a lot for our pensioners, especially the pensioners from the defunct agencies. I strongly believe that the government of the day has really shown a lot of commitment, a lot of care, and a lot of empathy towards their plight.
Now, in carrying out your duty, data is one key tool you need. What is PTAD doing to have a credible and reliable pensioners database?
We actually have started with verification of pensioners. That is the starting point. And we have been carrying out field verification of our pensioners nationwide. And as of November, December last year, we completed the field verification for the pensioners from all the operational departments. So right now we're validating our data. A lot of our pensioners are deceased. A lot of the pensioners on the database are not supposed to be there. So these are part of the issues that we're looking at. In terms of a clean database, we are about to put in place the I'm Alive project. All over the banks, we have monies belonging to deceased pensioners in the banks. We only get to know about these monies when their loved ones go with their letters of administration and they want to collect the money. Then the banks will get back to us. So we're trying to put up a vigorous drive to, first of all, see how we can get the deceased pensioners from the banks before our I'm Alive project takes off. Our I'm Alive project, we're about to start before the end of the year. It will be a pilot scheme. But before then, in collaboration with the banks, we should be able to look at some accounts that are inactive, not dormant, because so long as we're paying monies into those accounts, they would be active accounts. They wouldn't be dormant. So if these accounts are inactive, we can now begin to work from answer to question and see how we can contact those pensioners. And if we're not able to contact them, we will now look for how to retrieve our monies from the banks. So
right now,
we have put in so many programs in place to be able to clean out our database using technology.
Now, there's also an issue of pension scammers. What are you doing, to checkmate these activities?
We are constantly creating awareness to our pensioners. We keep saying, PTAD will never take money from you to process your pension payment. PTAD will never take money from you to process your arrears. PTAD will never take money from you to put you on the payroll if you're not yet on the payroll. And we keep telling our pensioners that. We are there on air, we go to the newspapers, we go through the pension unions, and we ask them to let our pensioners know that nobody would ask them for money. It is their rights. It is their money. There's no way anybody is going to be asking them to bring money to get their entitlements. We are also collaborating with the ICPC and the EFCC to make sure that we are able to round up these fraudsters in the event that they do show up. They're still on the prowl, but we continue to tell our pensioners, PTAD will not collect money from you for your entitlements. And most of the time, the pensioners that fall prey are pensioners that the fraudsters are telling them about amounts that they cannot even earn as pensioners. So there's also an element of greed on the part of pensioners when it comes to the pension fraud. So we also continue to appeal to our pensioners, the ones that are yet to get their benefits, to continue to bear with us. We're working hard to make sure that we take care of the liabilities.
Okay, now you've been in the directorate for 1 year now. So going forward, what are your short to medium term plans for the pensioners and the directorate, of course?
Well, the first thing would be a prayer that we continue to pay pensions regularly, as at and when due, and that we continue to take care of the welfare of our pensioners, because that is key. Our pensioners depend on the stipend that we pay them every month. So it is very, very important that this is sustained. And I'm grateful to the government of the day for their commitment to the payment of monthly pensions to pensioners of the defined benefit scheme. I'm also grateful to the Ministry of Finance, National Planning, Budget and National Planning for prompt release of funds every month for the payment of pensions. Even the National Assembly, I'm grateful for their support. They have been very supportive of us, and they are all committed to making sure that we succeed as an agency. I have mentioned the I'm Alive project, which is related to data cleanup. We need to clean up our data to know exactly who our pensioners are and make sure that we are actually taking care of people that we're supposed to be taking care of.
All right.
PTAD, by virtue of who we are, we have a sunset clause. PTAD is supposed to cease to exist when the last pensioner dies.
Yes.
So we are actually looking at an actuarial valuation, preliminary look at the data that we have on ground now shows that PTAD, even though it's called a transitional agency, still probably has an active lifespan of more than 20 years. So we need actuarial valuation to know exactly the way forward for PTAD and begin now to plan for the winding down of PTAD. Our graph is one that goes this way. It's sliding down. So we have a situation whereby we shouldn't have that many new entrants into our database. because we should be expecting that our pensioners will be falling off the database as a result of death over time until we get to a point where we come to point zero. But then we have to work out the modalities for that. We also are looking at a health insurance scheme for our pensioners. I am happy that the pension unions are really very interested in this. They actually have shown that they are willing to contribute part of their check-off dues for a health insurance scheme to be put in place for the pensioners. And we also know that Nigerian organizations will probably be interested in pushing in some of their corporate social responsibility to make sure that these senior citizens get a health insurance scheme in place.
Absolutely, Dr. Chioma. Well, that's the much we can take on that for now. Thank you very much for your time, and we wish you luck in your endeavor. Dr. Chioma Ejikeme is the Executive Secretary of PTAD.